It may seem like a drop in the ocean, but droplets of water, again, makes the ocean. What you can do, what I can do, if everybody continue to do the little they can, the system will get better by the blessing and grace of our God. So I want us to please take this to our hearts. It may look so simple, it may look so cheap, but again, I want to let us understand, coming over here at this time for this program is not cheap. It takes the church of God, it takes the people of God who help us to raise the fund, a lot of stress. And but because of the love of the country that every one of us have in heart, because of the love of our tomorrow, because we are all working together now to better the future of this country. Education is one of the tripod stand that holds the future of a country. And this is what you and I are here, to work on. So in essence, I want us to take it very serious. It's not just only all of us that came down or people that contributed that make contribution. You too, you're coming here. It's a lot of contribution. And I pray it will not be wasted in Jesus' name. So in essence, again, what I'm trying to say is we should take this to our heart, take it very seriously, and make sure that we keep the items at the end of the programs. The materials will be distributed to us to take back to our respective schools. The Yoruba people will always say a statement. They will say, "Ani ogunta aba fowo se ngba mi." For the sake of our brother Bob, let me try my best to say it in English. So, I'm trying to scratch my head. They said if you don't pay for something, you probably don't appreciate the value. So I want all of us to please understand that this thing is highly valuable. I'm not trying to boast, but just for you to know, the value of what you are taking back. It's going to cost for each school over 5 million naira. In Nigerian, currency today. So this is why, the last time we came, we were able to to give to about 25 schools. This is why we are limited to just about 11 schools this time. This way, I want us to please appreciate what we are taking. We don't want you to take it to school and just put it somewhere unused. It makes no sense. Then it will be wasted exercise if this thing is not being put to use. And this is why for every school we are requested, the sponsors to give us liaison people. So each school must know their liaison people. You walk through the liaison people to contact the director of this foundation. And that is Dr. Awusoba. So in case there is any glitch, we don't want to suffer any glitch. If there is any glitch at any time, the foundation is going to be behind you to support you to make sure it is put back into correction, repairs, and make to use right away. Again, we don't want the items, the materials to disappear. Please, this is one of the greatest concern of the sponsors. Our people will have good name. I don't want to say the other side. But we have vouched so much for all of us that the materials will not disappear. Please. Again, we want the materials to be properly and well kept. We don't want them to be abused. Let us, handle them, keep them gingerly, and the Lord will bless you for doing that. And again, let me tell you, this is like a test run now. If this program, if you work with us and it's highly successful, and the stakeholders can come to the school anytime and find this material in good shape and in good use, we will encourage them to do more to other schools. You know, the sky is not even the limit for how much, you know, we are looking to give back into the country that gives birth to us. All of them that you're looking, I mean, that are here, all the glory return back to the Lord. They are well settled in the Western world. Their children are well to do in the Western world. Their grandchildren, you know, already have, you know, support. I mean, educational and financial support. But again, because of the love of the country, that we have to give back to where we come from. This is why we are where we are now together. And I'm, again, in essence, soliciting for your cooperation, for your support, for your sincere partnership, so that this program, you know, will not die, so that this effort will not be wasted, so that our partnership, together, you know, will be fruitful and will be ongoing, and the Lord will bless you. Again, I don't want to bore you down with a statement, because the Yoruba people will say, "Aborolanso funrawa gbogbo ọmọlúàbí ni wá." And tó bá ti dénú wa ńkọ́, adodindi. So again, for Bob's sake, I don't want to keep you in darkness. They say you just speak a little, and then you know, it becomes okay. He's busy. Don't worry about him. Okay, so that's it. So again, I welcome you, and I just want everybody to fasten their seat, relax, enjoy yourself, and then be blessed in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you all. The Lord bless you.
Thank you, Daddy. Thank you so much. So we're going to move right ahead, but before then, Dr. Awoshogba's email address is yes, and it's written on the board here, and it's on the backboard. It's P. Awoshogba at Mott Halls, T.A. Mott Hall, STA.org. Mott Hall. Educated. Okay. So we just want to put out there, please write it in case you have any questions, any need for clarification. Eri? Okay. All right. When we have a break, you can come close and look at it too. Thank you. It's going to be, we're going to post it on the WhatsApp chat room too. All right. Thank you. Mr. Bob, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Dr. A. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to everyone who's not here. Thank you, camera crew. Thank you, PA crew. I think this is historic. I think we are together, part of a vanguard group, and I hope that you feel honored. Maybe later you'll feel more honored when you know what we're doing. And I hope that the success of this spreads and you become sort of famous for being in the first group, who became then the trainer of trainers. One housekeeping thing is, if you can please put your phone to silent. Some people, this is disability inclusion again, some to pay attention. Testing. Okay, I'm so glad, Pastor, that you mentioned the word love and incorporated it as you usually do. And I also want to bring in the love that we have for the children and for working with the children and my love for sharing this with you and working together with you and getting to know you. And I'm really trying to bring that. It's easy when you're presenting to be all up in your head, to remember the part that's down here. You can also watch me getting impatient with the microphone. The pastor reminded me of a story from my country, which is this. I'm walking along the shore, and I see that the sea has washed in thousands and thousands of, we have these starfish in the States. I don't know if they're here. So they've come up on the beach, and they're dying because they're not in the ocean. And there's so many of them. Feels hopeless. And I see one, and she's picking them up one at a time and throwing them in. And I come up to her and I say, what are you doing? It's impossible. She said, I'm doing what I can. And I said, well, I have an hour. I'll do it too. And I start throwing in, and I bet you know what happens. A third person comes, what are you doing? It's crazy, pointless. Okay, I'll help. I'll save a few starfish. I have 10 minutes. And then another person and another person. And then you see, right, it's contagious in a good way. And the crowd grows. And before you know it, we have enough people who've been inspired by that one woman to throw all the starfish back. There were thousands of them dying, and now they're back in the ocean. Let me do one technical thing. We need the microphone for the Zoom. Okay, so it was just I would ditch the microphone, and I still might because it's cutting in. People. Okay. People need it, so I'll do both. I'll speak loud enough, and sorry, Zoom. That's nothing I can do about it. I'm trying. Okay. First session, and explaining a lot. It won't be hands-on. Come, you'll have your tablet, we'll connect, and we'll really start using the library. So it's a little bit of a tension. And then show. So today I'm talking first and showing, but you could do it either way. Okay? Let's see. I think what I'll do is I'm going to start what's on the board. So gentlemen, I need to stand where you are. So if you could please just scoot out of the way. I warned you I'm using this whole area. So sir, if you could please, I need to be right there. Thank you. Okay. All of the things on the board we will share with you. We're going to type them up and print them so you'll have them tomorrow. So don't worry if you can't see or something's confusing or you miss it. But you're welcome to take notes as well, of course. So over here we have a vocabulary list. And don't worry, you don't have to write them down now. I'm going to be explaining each one, so we'll know each one. Now, let's start off with beginnings, okay? The way that I prefer to begin a program such as this is not this way. Best, if you can, to go to a community to do some sensitization, to meet the stakeholders, and to explain to them what this is all about and give them the choice. And one way I think about it is, imagine if somehow someone built a 20-room library right next to your school. That'd be great. But how would you use it? It's challenging, actually. And, but for this, originally when Dr. A approached me, I said, oh, let's go to Nigeria. We'll do a pilot project at one school. And he went to his church and told them about it, and there was so much enthusiasm for it, and they were able to do such successful fundraising that we ended up with 10+ schools. So I'm not following my recommendation, I would rather if you knew all about it and chose it for your school, but that's okay. We're going with it, okay? Let's talk empowerment. Okay, I hope that you'll feel like this is an exercise in empowerment, education. And we can talk about these things. Of course, there's not and create jobs and teach the students, and they make their own jobs. As a matter of fact, my son, he created his own job, and he is a commentator on YouTube now. Can lift barriers, greater productivity, which we can talk about even in jobs that you might not think about. So for example, a farmer who has to guess the weather when he or she has access to technology and they know, oh, it's going to rain next week, I better prepare. Such things can really improve agricultural yield, just as one example, and of course there's 100. Over here on the board, I have a little column of troubleshooting. I don't know if you use that term so much. Do you in Nigeria? Great. In my country, we have too much shooting, but I'll call it troubleshooting anyway. Okay? So let's all be troubleshooters, and more importantly, train your students to be troubleshooters. So if something is not working, many times show them how to fix it, right? And during his intro, the pastor mentioned, if there's a glitch, which you might have seen me smile. Oh, there will be glitches. Expect them. Even this, just here, we've had glitches, and we've overcome them. And actually overcoming the glitch can be part of the joy and the empowerment. Just like when you have your phone and it's not working and you get it to work. It's so annoying when it's not working, but then when you fix it yourself, do you know that feeling? Over here, I just want to have this from the very beginning, troubleshooting. Okay? Right here it says power supply confirmed. Okay? Now many of us here are tech people, and so we know how many times has someone come to you and say, oh, it's not working. And you look and you see the power switch isn't on. Something like that. It's not getting electricity. And in fact, last night we were doing some charging. Everything looked great. I stepped away. I looked. The plug had fallen out. The light was out. And we were like, I didn't monitor it. Right? So number one, the first thing you want to do is train your kids. Okay, is this thing getting power? Is the cable right? And many times just unplugging and plugging back in. The second thing I wrote up here is hot with a question mark. Look out. Okay? Please, when you are charging things, when you are running things, from time to time, touch them. Okay? If you know that feeling, right? When they're too hot. Okay? Sometimes it's because the device, the charger, has failed for whatever reason. And sometimes it's because the power in the wall is faulty. There's been surges. If something is hot, turn it off. Let it cool down. People don't really do that. I mean, I have to tell you, I was just in Sierra Leone. Something's hot, something's smoking. If it's still working, they don't touch it. They don't touch it until it breaks. And so let's remember, let's sort of monitor these things. And we can know the power will be faulty. Some gadgets will be faulty. Okay? And then the last thing you can see, I put it in quotes. This is a joke, and I'm going to erase it in a minute. And it's called blame the equipment, right? It can't be our fault. If something's not working, blame the hardware. Now, it's usually not the hardware. It's just sort of a fun thing as a tech person to say, oh, it's not working. It's not my fault. I'm going to blame the equipment. So give yourself a break. This is hard. Take it easy. But I'm going to erase it because it's really just a joke. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to start off, and we have to learn several different things. We have to learn about the hardware, the components, the things that you buy that have to work. We'll do that in a minute. Okay? We also have to learn about the contents, what's on it, what teaching materials are there, right? So on some days, all of the components will work perfectly. In the States, we call it seamlessly. You know what? Okay, you do. You know, you have a seam on your clothes, so seamlessly. And Steve Jobs, the creator behind Apple, you know, he wanted everything to work seamlessly and elegantly, which is also a fantasy. So some days all the components will work perfectly. And you won't even know. You'll turn it on, and like with your phone, you turn it on and the network's great, and you go online and it's just perfect. And during those times, we'll really be focusing on the content, materials, again, getting to the library idea. This is like the building of the structure, and the chairs and the books and all that. And then this is what's in the books. Materials are there, right? And when you are training other people, you can decide whether to begin with the hardware or to just hand out tablets that are connected and let people start with the content. Either way, it can be it can work. Okay. And let me see. I think that what I will do is begin with the hardware. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I will introduce the hardware, and then I will pause to see if anyone has any questions. So if you have a question, you can write it down or hold on to it. But right now, I'm going to start with the, where did I put it? Okay. No, actually, I'll start with a vocabulary word. Okay. So this one right here, if you can see, and I'll write it big, it says Raspberry Pi Foundation. And here, it says Pi twice. So let me explain that, okay? In my country, we love pie, P-I-E, for dessert. And we have many different kinds. The famous pie from America is apple pie. And we have many different fruits pie, peach pie, all these kinds. And we have one kind of berry that I have not seen in Nigeria called a raspberry. And so a pie that you could eat would be a raspberry pie. Okay. Well, the people who are behind these gadgets, they decided to make a little joke. It's like a math joke. You have to be kind of like very much in your head to think it's funny. So the joke is they took the word pi, P-I. Do you remember from math, or many of you teach maths? 3.14, 22/7, the area of a circle, pi r squared. Well, that math constant, that math constant is spelled P-I. So as kind of a joke, is it funny? I think it's confusing. But anyway, they named their foundation Raspberry Pi. Ha, ha, ha. No? It's a dessert. It's a math constant. I don't know. But anyway, it's a little confusing. So this gadget is called a Raspberry Pi. That's the hardware. And when my colleague and I designed this, we gave it a nickname, Bridge Pi. Remember last night I was talking about bridging the gaps. So that's why you'll see sometimes it will say, like right here, it says the Bridge Pi. And you might notice if you're a good speller that it's not a pi like P-I-E. So, but if you spell it P-I-E, I won't be mad. Everyone does. The Raspberry Pi Foundation is great. I'll show you later online. They're out of the UK. They're an NGO. They make millions of these. Their mission is to make computers affordable and easy to use for people like you and classrooms. And they are a bargain. They are much less expensive than buying a regular computer. They come in this little box. And actually, this is in a case. And each one of you will have one on your table soon. I know yet. It's just this big, which is really pretty amazing. And this one does not have, it's, let me grab a chip. So I did belt and suspenders, and I sent 10 chips to Dr. A at home. The chip is just a micro SD card, which many of you are used to from your phones or your cameras. You've probably seen something which is an SD card, and then you're probably familiar after they came out with an SD card, which is amazingly small. They said, oh, that's too big. Let's make a micro SD card, which is just this big. And when I was a young man, people were saying, someday the whole library will be on your fingernail. And we say, oh, okay. Right. Well, they were right. And all of the content, hundreds of books and videos and such, are all on that little micro SD card. Okay. And then we have the power supply. This is the one that's on now that we'll be using later. You can get power from the wall. So you'll have something like this, maybe something with a Nigerian plug, I don't know. And also, since it's 5 watts, if you're familiar with electricity, you'll know many phones and such things are 5 watts. And I think I wrote that up here somewhere. Let me see. Components, right. So we have the power supply that delivers 5 watts. And for reliability, get a, like a, thank you, Dr. A. And so we've got the power supply, the computer. Here I wrote the Pi, in quotes. The micro SD card that has the software on it, and then also headphones. I want to emphasize headphones because when the children are using the instructional videos, if more than 2 or 3 groups are using them, then to some of us it sounds insane. It's like blah, 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 blah. And we have headphones. We bought 200 headphones. So there's a headphone for every gadget. So please, when you're doing it in class, let the students use headphones. They can share too, a left and a right. And I'm saying it that way because I keep going back to schools and I walk into the classroom and it's like blah, 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 blah. They don't use the headphones. I don't know why. And maybe it doesn't bother you, but trust me, someone in your class is being driven crazy by the different sounds coming from these instructional videos. Okay, now I'm going to pause now for any questions. I give you a classroom tip before I do. The teacher asks for questions. There's always some people in the room who get nervous that no one's going to ask a question. And the teachers just stand there glaring at this class, waiting for a question. So I feel sympathy for them because there's no reason to feel stressed out about that in a class I'm running. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'll ask for questions and then I'll just count for 10 seconds. And if nobody has a question, no problem. So don't feel stressed because here comes. Does anyone have a question? I'm happy to wait 10. Oh, here we go. Thank you, sir. I'll repeat it so it's loud. Morning. Yes. What a great question. Yes, and I'm going to. Yes, sorry. I was just about to. So the question was, okay, so you have the software on a micro SD card. Can it be copied? The answer is yes, but. To copy an SD card takes a special step. And the verb for copying an SD card is flash. You have to flash it. Now, I will later explain all of the technical part, but it's different than just copying regular software. You can't just copy it over. It's not that easy. There's an extra step, which I will explain later, but right now it's an introduction. So the answer, can you copy these? Yes, but. So for example, just to clarify, this SD card has 128 gigabytes of, it's a 128, they come in different sizes if you don't know. So the entire 128 gigabytes needs to go flashed onto a laptop that has 128 gigabytes free, and then must be copied there, flashed there, so onto the right kind of chip. There's a few steps, but the answer is yes. Now also what we're looking forward to doing is putting them on SD cards and giving them to you so that you can just have them in the tablets so that they don't need the connection. But that's a great first question. Now, who could come up with a better one? Thank you, and I'll follow up again. Shall we see if there's a second one? And don't worry, I'm only going to wait 10, 9, 8, 7. Great. Okay. I must be amazing if 40 people have no questions. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Now, let's talk about connecting, about what gadgets can connect. Okay? So the short answer is any gadget that has Wi-Fi, right? So it's probably all your phones and the tablets that we have now and any laptop that's less than 6 or 7 years old. And later on, we will connect all your phones to the Bridge Pi. So the list that I wrote under gadgets has the Amazon Fire laptops and phones. A word about why I wrote Amazon Fire, okay? So there are many, many companies making tablets, right? And some of them are very expensive and very powerful, and some of them are very cheap and not so good. And I have some of those that we can test because I wanted to see if I bought the cheapest tablet I could, would it work? And the answer is, again, yes and no, right? It works, but very slowly, right? It's like having a bicycle with flat tires. You can go, but not too fast. So the company Amazon, they decided to boost their business by making inexpensive tablets that were fairly powerful. So almost every tablet that's good enough costs twice as much as this one kind, Amazon Fire. They subsidize it. And these Amazon Fires have a lot of benefits and some minuses. The minuses, which you'll see, is that they're designed to get you to use Amazon products. So they try to push you to their website, to their audio books. So it's kind of like there's like advertisements. that we have to work around. But on the positive side, they're very powerful, and they move quickly. What do I mean by move quickly? If you have a slow tablet and you connect to a book, you might wait 1 minute, which is actually a long time to wait for a gadget. And if you have a fast tablet, maybe you wait 10 seconds. And some people think, I'll save the money and wait a minute. Okay, that's true. And other people say, oh man, when my kids are doing nothing for a minute, I lose them. Anyway, there's many choices. You don't have to use the devices we're using today. Also, let's talk about new and refurbished. Okay? New gadgets, always better. Maybe have a warranty, usually work better. Often you can get gadgets much less expensive that have been used or refurbished. And this will be your choice when you go and maybe do an expansion. Am I going to save some money and get more that aren't as good? Or am I going to have fewer gadgets? It's a compromise. So let's do it together. This is part of being a world. To make choices. Speed, money, durability, reputation, all these different things. And that's okay, we'll do it together. When I went to purchase the Amazon Fires, they had a limit on how many they could sell. Oh, what a challenge. I was also ordered 150 and have them shipped to Dr. A's house, and I went online, limit of 4. I could not believe it. And we scoured the internet, and we were able to find 150 for 3 different models. Okay, let's try not to have the phones do that, please. So the Amazon Fire 7, I thought I had one here. Oh, here we go. 7 inches. The Amazon Fire 8 is 8 inches, and the 10 is even bigger. So this is what one of the tablets looks like. I'm sure it's not a surprise. And this is not in a case, and we have cases for each one. Another decision you have to make. Am I going to spend some money so that my gadgets last? Okay. So actually, the price of the case, you could buy 1 tablet for the price of 6 cases. Right? So when we decided what to do for this deployment, here's where we made the compromise. Bridge Pi would have 12 tablets, plus 12 student tablets, plus 1 for the teacher, plus 2 for backup. So I could just say 15, but let's get ready for glitches. Let's have belt and suspenders. Let's have some extra ones. You'll probably use them all. You won't keep 2 in the closet until some break. But you can think about having 12 plus 1 for the leader and 2 for backup. And then we decided to buy the 15 cases, right? So our choice, you see, we could have bought 17 or 18 tablets, no cases, which might have been a good decision because they're pretty durable. But we decided to get the cases to help them last longer. I cannot tell you whether that was a good decision. That's okay. You can't know. There's no answer key. You can just go and find out. And if you tell me, the tablets, there's no problem. Don't even bother buying cases, just more tablets. That's good to know. And some of you will say, on the first day, my kid dropped the tablet right on the ground. And it would have broken, but it was in the case. So you can enjoy learning that. And actually, I have a few in their cases over here. If I don't see this is kind of funny. This is a different one. This is one of the really cheap ones I bought that they have. We have this business in my country, Walmart, which is famous for having the cheapest everything. And they have it, it's just for kids, right? It's a little kindergarten tablet for like a 5-year-old in my country. It has like basic ABCs, and it is really slow, but it works. And this is half the cost of one of these. So maybe we should have given you 30 of these, but we didn't. So we'll see. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. This is the really good case. But it's really good. And it's pretty cool. It has a little stand, so you can just put it there, which is nice. And you'll see there's some different ones. We got some soft ones, really, because of the weight. Just seeing them. Yeah, there's another one over there. Okay, let me take a pause. Let's see. I'm going to do a review. So we have the components. Really, this is it. It's really incredibly mobile. You can put these 15 tablets in a bag. Well, you can pick. I don't need to hold up a bag. And this, and you can go, and you have the digital library there if you've charged the tablets. And charging tablets reminds me of something of your role. The word we came up with for your job at your school is champion. You're going to be the champion. What are the champion's responsibilities? Well, the number one responsibility of the champion is the one the pastor mentioned. Security, guarding it, trying to make sure no one steals it. And they are very tempting. And we know that some of the children in your school, they're worried about having enough money to feed their families, and they know that if they bring home a bunch of cash, they'll be heroes. So we have to avoid that, right, and respect that, but help keep them from that temptation. Security is number one. Number two is keeping them charged, right? So many times you'll have to charge them in the evening. But when they're charged, they'll last all day, no problem. So it doesn't even have to be 100%. Another job of the champion is M&E, reporting. Do you call it M&E in Nigeria, monitoring and evaluation? Do you call it M&E? M&E. Yeah, monitoring and evaluation, okay. So that will be your job too, is to tell us, is it working? What are the glitches? Should we do it again? Did you have enough tablets? Does the pie work? All these kind of things. And Dr. A and the pastor will decide what sort of reporting you'll do so that we can know that you're using it and what your challenges are and your victories. Okay, let's do a little time check. Good. So we're doing well. And I'm going to cover all this, and then we'll have a break in a little while. Let me pause again. Okay, let me pause again. Dr. A is trying to tell me something. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. Okay, great. I'm so glad that that's what he wanted to tell me, was that it's time for another Q&A. Phew, because I like that. So let's take a break for a moment to invite any other questions that you might have. Yes, sir.
As a follow-up to the last question, is it possible that with the limited number of tablets that are going to be available, that there can be kind of
if the school has the privilege of adding to the number of tablets, can they do that?
Oh, what an easy question
yes,
to answer.
Secondly, there is another one.
Okay. Well, first let me say his question was, if the school wants to add, Dr. A, can I ask you to listen to his question and say it loudly for me? He has a second question.
Since we have the software on the SD card, we can use the laptop or any other device alongside.
So the question is,
Go ahead.
yeah. So the information is on the SD card, right? So can you get the information on the SD card using another computer?
Great question. Such an easy answer.
Yes.
Y-E-S, yes. The SD card is, can have many, many gadgets access it. You could go if, sorry. We have brought the Bridge Pi to schools by itself. Schools that have some laptops or some tablets that are not being used too much. And you connect them to the Bridge Pi, and it's like all of a sudden they work. And all across, I'm sure Nigeria too, but in the other countries I've worked, there are so many computer labs that other companies have put in, or NGOs, and they've died. Often because they can't, one second, doctor, often because they just can't access their server anymore. Maybe somebody didn't pay the fee, or one place, they had a beautiful computer lab and they lost the password. And it was just sitting, I came in to maybe do a deployment, I walked in, it was, oh my goodness, these are great computers. Are they using them? No, nobody knows the password. Dr. A, let me just hold that next question for, yeah. Yes. Right. Right. Any gadget that can connect by Wi-Fi can connect to the Pi. Okay? Now, we just did a deployment in Sierra Leone. We brought over beautiful Dell desktops from 10 years ago. They don't have Wi-Fi. I couldn't connect them. I could buy a Wi-Fi, adapter to give it the capability, but the cost of that was almost the same as a tablet. So we're going to connect any laptop you brought. We're going to try to connect all your phones. Let me say one more thing. I know there's another question. It's about the capacity. I think I wrote it up there. Where did I write range? Here we go. Technical. Number of gadgets. How many gadgets can you connect? What a great question. The answer is, it depends. So, more than 10. More than 15. Now, once you get to about 15, performance slows down, okay? So if you had 40 gadgets, if we all connected our phones right now to this one, it would work, but it would be slow. Now, if you just want a book, a PDF of a book, no problem. If you know bandwidth and file size, document, all of us could access it. What about videos? You start using instructional videos, and many of you know, if you've used, even on your phone, you can see 30-second video takes as much space on your phone as, I don't know, 100 photos, 500 photos, it depends on the file size. So, yes, you and connect and connect and connect. But if you had a big meeting with 100 people with their phone, one time would not be enough. So this is another example of how, as tech people, we have to be ready to have the answer be, it depends. Right? It's sort of like having a car. How fast does that car go? Well, how's the traffic? Are there police around? Am I going downhill or uphill? This thing is not happy. Yes.
We need there's a clarifying question, right? So the question you spoke about this SD card.
Yes.
So where is the SD card located? It's located in where? In the Bridge Pi.
Right.
Yeah. Can you show us the Bridge Pi that houses the SD card, please? So this is the bridge pie that's going to house the SD card that we are talking about. And that's the SD card that is the brain that houses all the information that you're going to be housing your resources for teaching, for homework, for textbooks, for encyclopedia. It's going to be on that SD card. And the tablet is going to connect to that SD card for you to get information. So if I want to teach math, I'm going to connect to the SD card in the bridge pie and log on to the math site or folder there and teach my student. While I'm doing that, the English teacher could tap into the same bridge pie and teach English. Now, if I have 5 students in my maths class, and the English teacher has maybe 10 students, okay, that may still work. We have a total of 15, right, working on it. So when he says it depends on the number of tablets that can log into it, it's going to depend on what program you are working with. If I'm doing math, they're doing English, fine. But if I have social studies, and the social studies teacher wants to show video to the student about maybe an area in the northern part of the country, teaching via video will take more memory, and it may slow down. So that's what it's trying to say. It depends on the number of gadgets and what you are working on or teaching the students on. Am I right, Mr. Bo?
You are absolutely right. And Dr. Ayal, let me just, I'm going to turn it to you 1 second. I just want to tell everybody, you're all going to do it yourselves, hands-on, shortly. So you don't have to look. You're going to have one at your table right after the break. And you'll have the SD card and the power supply, and you'll be using it. I know you have many questions, and some of them will be answered. I don't want to answer them by talking. I want to answer them by showing. So we're almost done with the vocabulary. I know. We're almost done with the vocabulary, but I'm going to ask you, try not to explain what I'm about to demonstrate, because it's out of order.
Because she's speaking through the lens of understanding the culture of where they are. You don't know that. She knows. And like, okay, so let her help. You have been a fantastic job giving it to them, but she can do that a little bit. So
yeah.
Don't give it to me.
So to follow up on what I just said, okay, so we have the maths teacher, the English teaching, and the social studies want to come in, and they want to show videos. That's going to put some stress on that one bridge pie that we have. So if you're school, you can get another bridge pie that can service the school. So a school can have 2 bridge pies, so that to increase the length of the users. So you can have that, and you can start different programs in those ones as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, just show us good faith. How we're doing this. What you're doing, you let us know. We don't mind. I will come. I will come to you. We take it. We're passionate about what you're doing. We're ready to support what you're doing. I hope you will do that.
Testing.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Speak to the mic so that it can be loud.
I thought what my brother was really asking was that the micro SD, can it be transferred from one computer to another? Okay.
I'll answer that just like that. Okay. So the SD card is not going to be on the computer. It's going to be on that bridge pie. Mr. Bob, can you raise it up, sir? Yes. Yes, that is your CPU. That's the brain. That is where your tablets will tap into. Yes, it's the server. Yes, that's another word. So it's not going on your computers or your tablets or your phone. The school, the teachers will tap into there. Just like you're going on the internet, but this is not internet, it's intranet. And that's what is going to, you'll be given the link. It's still going to get there. Yeah. Mr. Bo, over to you, sir. Oh, that's.
Well, first of all, I want to invite my new sister to jump in anytime. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There are a lot of vocabulary words, a lot of things that you can think of, and some subtleties in the answers. So thank you. Let me clarify a few things. Many users can use the videos at the same time, not just one. Maybe I made it sound like only one at a time. No. 5 is fine, maybe 10. Someone says, how many people can use videos at the same time? It depends. How strong is the tablet? How was the video recorded, if you know about compression? Also distance. So you can find out. The limit won't be from the Pi very much. It's really not a problem. Use many, many gadgets. And as Dr. A said, we look forward to the day where one of your schools says, you know what? We would love a second Bridge Pi. And actually, in many schools, we have 2. One at the classroom of a teacher who uses it all the time in his or her classroom. Another one in the director or the headmaster or the principal's office that's available for other people to use. And that model might be very good. I know there were questions about copying the content, which was a subtle, more advanced question of yours. And it is possible to take the content off of these chips and put them into the tablet. Would work on its own. But I don't want, so the possible, great question, but it's more advanced than today, okay? What else was I, oh yes. Let me spend one moment on the word Wi-Fi. Do you say it Wi-Fi here or Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi. So in Mexico, in Spanish-speaking countries, they say Wi-Fi. An I is pronounced E. And if you go into Spanish is the colonial language, the main language, and you ask for Wi-Fi, they look at you like you're from the moon. So here it's Wi-Fi. Many people think Wi-Fi is the internet. They walk in and they say, you guys know, they say, what's the Wi-Fi? What's the Wi-Fi? You need the password. We know that Wi-Fi is a technology for connecting devices. In fact, many of us know from experience that sometimes you connect to the Wi-Fi and you'll have like 4 bars, but the router that you're connected to isn't connected to the internet. So your Wi-Fi is working great, but it doesn't mean you have internet. We know that, right? Still, many people will say, oh, I'm using Wi-Fi. Where's the internet? We're not on the internet. And that is a problem because your gadgets are looking for the internet. So when you connect on and when you're learning to help connect on their phones, when they connect to the Pi perfectly, many times they'll get a message, no internet. And like maybe even a line through the bars. And you can think to yourself, I know. I'm smarter than you. I'm doing this on purpose. Stop telling me I'm making a mistake. I know. Also, with these Amazon tablets, when you turn them on, I'll just say one thing about this. They are designed when they are first turned on. Design is that they go on the internet and they fetch, F-E-T-C-H, programs from Amazon. And these programs are money making for them. You know, pay $10 and get this book, get this pro power or whatever. So we don't do that though. Okay? If you get a new Amazon that we haven't set up for you, don't connect to the internet. It will fetch all this garbage that we don't want. And when you turn it on, sometimes it will warn you, you're not on the internet. Go back. Go. Okay, you just have to push through. Okay, because we're using them just to connect. So when people say, oh, I don't have Wi-Fi, I do have Wi-Fi, just say, okay, I'm sorry, but you have Wi-Fi connected to the Pi, and it's not on the internet, which is good also. Why is it good? Well, first of all, no data fees, right? You cannot say that enough. People from your community will be reluctant to use the Pi to connect on your, you say, oh, let me connect. I don't want to pay. No, there's really no data fee. Now here, get this book. I don't want to pay. It's really free. And I know we're all nodding. Trust this 20 times. And then another thing, what's good about not being on the internet is that you don't have some of the problems of the internet. And actually over here I had mentioned curated content. Do you have that word, a curator? Someone who picks, like maybe for an art show, the curator is to pick which things will be in the show and which things won't. So our job is to curate the content. We can go on the internet and pick the resources we want, download them, put them on the Pi. That way, we can keep it free of those many reasons people fear the internet with children. Blasphemy? No. Pornography? No. Propaganda? Sometimes by accident, because people put their stuff up there, you have to look out for that. So this is actually a very, very tricky part of your job, is curating the content and deciding which things are with your community. I'll give you an example, which has been very challenging. Have you ever heard of the book Harry Potter? Harry Potter, he's a magician. His books were #1 in my country. Children who didn't read fell in love with them. It's the story of a boy who's grown, and he is a wizard. Magic powers. And he goes to, they teach. Who has my kids reading about how much fun witchcraft is. So I didn't do that. Even though in my country it's considered totally harmless. And actually there are many stories, right, about witches and wizards. So you have to decide what to put there. And there will be stories about, you know, children getting hit by their parents, and you have to decide, is this too terrible or what? So let's see. So the curated content, number of gadgets. Let's talk about the range. How far? The signal that this server, someone mentioned it's a server, it's really a glorified server, puts out is actually quite strong. And you can actually access a Pi from more than 30 meters outside. So it's really surprising. Now, does it work better the closer you are? Yes. Okay. So will it reach the people in the back? Yes. But their performance might be less, just like when you're further from a router on your Wi-Fi. Now, what about a wall? Can it go through a wall? Yes. It depends on what the wall's made out of. In my country, right, in my country, a lot of the walls are simply wood. And the signal goes through very well. About time for a break? Great. Great. Okay, that's great. Excuse me, we're going to welcome a guest.
Praise the Lord. Again, I want to apologize to interrupt the sweet progress at this time. We have an august visitors here, and Mommy is just about to exit because she wears so many hats, and the time is highly limited. But I don't want her to go without you knowing her, and I know how strongly she is to this foundation. We've been talking so much about our founder, Baba Oyedeji, the founder of the church. This is Baba's niece, and she is very, very supportive of this program. This is why she said she can't but, show up and see the program, then go back to her duty. Not only that, to some of you, you will realize we endeavor to give free accommodation. When we were in the progress, she gave us a sum of 250,000 towards your accommodation. So, yeah, I need them to understand and appreciate you. So I just want you to appreciate Mama, for all our support to this foundation.
In a nutshell, good morning, class.
I'm sorry. You see, this way I'm not so good in talking. I didn't mention. So, Mommy's name is Dr. Ariade Elegbe.
Good morning, class. I'm so happy to be here. And I hope whatever we do here today and learn will be beneficiary to members and to our children in the future. Electricity, is not too good in Nigeria. And for all this, we need some form of power. So let's continue to pray for Nigeria, that Nigeria will be a better place tomorrow. And to the organizers of this, I'm very grateful for your time and your commitment. Ento sheyin lo she, ento shoju kò ṣe nǹkankan. Wọ́n ń ṣẹ̀yìn bàbá, ẹ̀yin tí yín náà ó dáa o. Ojú yín ò ní bàjẹ́ o. Lágbára Ọlọ́run. I appreciate all of you, and I will implore you to please make good use of whatever you learn here today. Don't see it as a freebie. You get it and you throw it away. No. Make use of it. Thank you all. Sorry for the interruption. Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Bob, my pleasure. So good to see you. We'll see more of it. Is it your first time in New York? I mean, in Nigeria?
Sure, yeah. I was born in New York. We have a song for you. Can you come up?
Okay.
No, right here.
Right here?
Can you be my guest up here?
What is it?
We're going to sing for you. They want to sing for you. We're going to sing a song for you, a welcome song that I taught them this morning.
What is it?
Well, if you give me 5 seconds, I'm going to remind them of the words. One moment. Let me remind you of the words. Don't listen. Okay. Remember, it's welcome, oh welcome to everyone here. Be of good voice and be of good cheer as we begin this brand new school year. Feeling good? Yes. Okay. So we're going to sing for our esteemed sister guest, and then we'll go right to our break. So everybody up, please. Okay. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Welcome, oh welcome to everyone here. A little louder. Be of good voice and be of good cheer as we begin this brand new school year. One more time. Welcome, oh welcome to everyone here. Be of good voice and be of good cheer as we begin this brand new
Wow, 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 wow. That's very interesting. Eshewo, you did a good job, Mr. Thank you.
means thank you. Take that to,
You're welcome. Okay, we're on break. Let's take a break.
taking a break. What, 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? 10-minute break, guys, please, so that we can continue. 10. Oh, yeah. We'll come back. Let's come back, please. Look at your time. 5 minutes to 11. Let's take it a little more than 10. 5 minutes to 11. Let's come back. So let's break. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, what a hit.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we learned the song to honor her.
Yeah, I did.
Perfect. She was expecting that you were.
So we're going to this is great. Yeah. So it's good. We wait. And then when you come to these questions.
Yeah, great.
Give you some level of understanding of IT.
Great.
All right. Yes, it did. When I'm out of time.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good. Because
And the accent.
so I'm sure you were so great. I'm glad we were. So when you transition to the do your thing, they have it. You see how it's great. This is good.
That's what we're
Doctor. Oh, come. Okay, sideways.
Let's do one at a time so we can move.